Hello duelists, my name is Charlie, I am the Kybercorp intern, and in today's video, we're going over my Magical Musketeer Master Duel deck profile. Let's dive on in. So, first thing we're going to do before we even go over the deck profile is talk about the Magical Musketeer strategy. The whole point of playing Magical Musketeers is to summon your main deck monsters onto the field and to activate spell and trap cards in the same column as those monsters. Why? Because almost every single Magical Musketeer main deck monster gets an additional effect whenever a spell or trap card is activated in its column. Caspar is a search, Magical Musketeer Doc is a recycle from the grave, and we're going to go over the rest in the deck profile. The other benefit of Magical Musketeers is that they all have this one clause where as long as you control the monster, during either player's turn, you can activate Magical Musketeer spell and traps from your hand. That includes the trap cards too. So Desperado is a quick play pop, you have a quick play negate, counter trap negate from the hand in Last Stand, and you can do nutty stuff all on your opponent's turn, all thanks to that clause that the main deck monsters all share. So, for the deck profile, we are playing 3 Max C. Igata, just an amazing advantage engine that gets you as many of your different bullets, essentially, so to speak, to your hand, your different spells and traps. 3 Caspar because it's a search, one of the best muskets you can play. 3 Doc for the recycling in the graveyard, really great ability, especially to have in combination with Caspar. You get almost a bit of a loop going between the two. Kid Brave for playing 3 copies is a discard 1, draw 2 whenever a spell or trap is activated in the column. Starfire is a special from the deck of any level 4 or lower Magical Musket monster. And then we have 2 Calamity, which is a monster reborn whenever a spell and trap is activated in her column. To get some more cards in our hand, we are playing 3 Potter Desires, which is kind of why we're playing so many copies of our muskets and of our bullets, just because you want to make sure that you're not banishing all copies of them. Happens sometimes, but not too often with these ratios. 2 Triple Tactics Talent, really great going second card, and this is a blind second deck because of the Link 1, which we'll talk about more in just a moment. 3 Link into the Vrains, which is a vital piece in this card, or in this deck, because if you get your normal summon stopped, Link into the Vrains is going to be your way to keep on playing after that. In addition to that, if you happen to stick a monster on the field, and you can activate Link into the Vrains in its column, then you're just off to an advantage tornado. It just gets crazy from there. You just snowball, and you start plussing more and more. A really great card to have under a Musketeer or by itself. 2 Forbidden Chalice, really great being able to do a quick play negate at any point in the turn and not having to send for cost. However, we are playing 2 Droplet because the blanketing, the non-targeting is a bit more versatile too, so you want to play 2 copies of each. The Chalice does come up a lot. The reason why we're playing 2 and 2 is because Chalice does keep your advantage kind of close into your hand, whereas Droplet, you're really burning resources. So Chalice, I do recommend definitely playing 2 copies, even if you have a playset of Droplet. We're on the 1 double or nothing for the Utopia double package in the extra deck. We have 3 Cross Domination. My opinion, the best bullet out of all the Magical Musketeer spell and trap cards. 2 Called by the Grave for Max C. 2 Forbidden Droplet. 2 Desperado, which is a Dryden for face-up cards. 1 Dancing Needle, which is a banished 3 in the graveyard. 1 Last Stand. 1 Fiendish Deal, which is a protection from all destruction effects for your Magical Musketeer monsters. And, actually, sorry, I didn't even mention Last Stand. Last Stand is the counter spell and trap negate that you have in Archetype as well. And lastly, closing out the deck, we have 1 Magical Musket Crooked Crown, which is your main way to extend further. If you already burned your normal summon, Crooked Crown lets you extend one more time in case you get stopped or in case you need an extra body on the board to close out the game. Moving on to the extra deck, we have the Utopia to go with the Utopia double. We have Abyss Dweller to close out any kind of graveyard strategies. 1 Baguska because he's just so good. We're playing the Baguska sleeves in this deck as well, so you gotta kind of have the representation in there. 3 Magical Musketeer Max, which is one of the best and arguably the best going second Link 1 monster in the entire game. The fact that you can plus 6 off of this is just insane. So 3 copies, whenever you summon it, you get to either add Magical Musketeer spell and traps with different names from your deck to your hand up to the number of monsters your opponent controls, or special summon Magical Musketeer monsters with different names from your deck up to the number of spell and traps your opponent controls. It's a hard once per turn, but if you get it off, you are going crazy in advantage. We're also playing 1 Phoenix, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Unicorn to go with it, 1 Boral Sword Dragon to help close out some games that you may otherwise be out of even with Access Code Talker, 1 Mekk Knight Crusadia Avermax also to go in tandem with the IP Masquerena, 1 Apollosa, 1 Axis Kotalker, and 1 anti-cheese card, the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. You summon this a lot more times than you would think you get some decks. So, that's the deck. Let's get into some replays. In the first game, we are going second against our opponent on Punks. They start off with a jam session. They normal summon Zeamin. Zeamin use the effect to get an Ogre Dance. They'll now use the effect of jam session to get a card. They will use Deer Note, at which point we will go ahead and max C. They reveal the Foxy Tune. So, Chain resolves. They're going to go ahead and summon their monster. We draw one. They synchro into Jam Dragon. They're going to pay some more life points, get their Zeamin back to the field, get a Ghost Ogre off of the Dragon. Jam Session again, draw a card, go into Pep, and they're going to pass here. So, we got a little bit unlucky with the max C draws. We did get 3 Starfire, but as long as we get some of these cards to stick on the board, get their effects going, we can close it out. Our opponent already paid some life points, so let's see what we can do. We start off by trying to go ahead and normal summon Starfire. Now our opponent does Solemn Judgment, so they know the weak point of Muskets being the normal summon. But we got lucky, and we got into the Brains in the hand. So we just keep on pushing. They pay half. They are down to almost no life points. They Cosmic the Link to the Brains. Why? I do not know. I just don't understand. They're down to 2,400 life points. We max. We summon from the deck. Caspar, Desperado, pop the field spell. Caspar effect, get Crooked Crown. Crooked Crown effect, summon out the Starfire. Called by the Grave, banishing the Dragon Drive. It could be anything, but we're just using the effect to get a Starfire trigger. We then use Starfire to get into our 4th monster. Count them up. That's 5 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Attack directly for lethal. Punks paying life points has never turned on themselves more. In this next game, we are going against Sprite, going second. So, our opponent starts off with the Sprite combos. They have Starter, they get Blue. Blue's going to go ahead and get Jet. Jet's going to come down, go ahead and get a Smashers. Then they overlay into Gigantic Sprite. Gigantic Sprite detach 1 to get a Carrot. And at this point, I'm lost because they don't make Elf. They don't go into anything else. They just do Gigantic, Carrot, set to pass. So, I don't know if they think that the TCG or OCG ban list is here. Sprite Elf is still legal, so why they did this, I don't know. Sprite players, sound off in the comments. What's going on here? Let's see if we can punish it. We go ahead and we draw for turn. We're going to get a Desperado off the top. We go ahead and normal summon Caspar. They max C. We have a call by for the max C. They Carrot in response. We Chalice the Carrot, though, letting everything resolve. So, in a new chain, we're going to go ahead and get Caspar to search, but they Ash Blossom here. Totally fine. All we care about is Magical Musketeer max resolving. On summon, they do, however, have a Droplet, but at this point, you can do one of the best plays Musketeers has at their disposal to protect Magical Musketeer max, and that is, if your opponent has Veiler, your opponent has Imperm, your opponent has Forbidden Droplet, you can Desperado to pop your own max to let it resolve without the effect negation going through. So, pop the max, summon out a Dock, summon out a Caspar, Talents under the Dock. We're going to draw 2, Dock effect, get back the Desperado. We can't get over the Carrot, a bit unfortunate, but we have a good control game plan already set up. We Desperado in the draw phase, popping the Carrot. They Smashers, now they have to make a choice here. It doesn't target. So, they're either going to banish the Caspar or the Dock. We want both effects to go through ideally, so we chain a Dancing Needle so that one of them is going to have to go through. One of them is going to have to. They decide to banish the Dock. In my opinion, wrong choice. Caspar gets back adds a cross domination, and we go to our opponent. They set 1, can't really do anything. So we draw for turn. We get a Starfire, not what we want to see, but we can at least get a bit more control going. So we summon the Starfire, go into battle. Bit of damage there. Pass back to our opponent. Our opponent for turn draws a Live Twin Kissy Kill. Now at this point we can cross dom, stop the Kissy Kill from extending further, and our opponent pretty much has given up at this point. We Starfire, summon out Calamity, they crash in, and our opponent clearly given up. We're going to let our opponent walk away from the table as soon as possible. So we're just going to quickly switch our Calamity to attack and go in for lethal. Bit of a weird Sprite duel, but hey, a win against Sprites is a win against Sprites. We'll take it. On to the final replay. For the final replay that we're showcasing today, I'm going to show you how most of your games are going to be won if you're playing Magical Muskets. So our opponent here is on Dark Magician. We're blinding second, so they're going to do all their normal plays. They have Eternal Soul, they have a circle set up. So a bit dodgy looking, however, we do have the Last Stand to protect our normal summon from being banished. So we're looking alright. They Tamaias to go into their Dragon Knight, which is going to protect all their spell and traps, but in case you were wondering if that would get in the way of Last Stand, it says spell and traps you control will not be destroyed by card effects. But if you activate something and I negate the activation, you never actually controlled it. So it will destroy the Eternal Soul, not just negating the effects and keeping it on the field. So that's what's going to happen. We are going to draw for a turn. They don't shotgun it, which is their mistake. So we go ahead and normal summon Starfire. They Eternal Soul. We last stand, and this is how you close out games in the blink of an eye with muskets. All you need is cross dom, Starfire. Sometimes all you need is just Starfire and spell and trap cards. So negate the soul. No more circle banishing for you. We get the Calamity out of the Starfire. We cross dom to bring this down to 0. That's 2 level 4s. So Utopia double. Battle phase to prevent any kind of effect failure stopping us, just because you want to play around as much as you can. So in the battle phase, you do the effect, get your double or nothing, go into Utopia, Utopia attack, negate the attack, double or nothing, attack again with double the damage, boom, 10,000 closing out the game. That's how you're closing out a lot of games with muskets, because they have such small bodies. You need Utopia double to be able to close out games in the blink of an eye. That way your opponent can't rebuild afterwards. So there you have it. Let's go ahead and look at the deck one more time. Alright, we're back with the deck, and you kind of saw the strengths and weaknesses of the deck. You saw that the main deck monsters having such low attack does get in the way of clearing some stuff sometimes, but as long as your opponent has something in attack position, you can OTK with Utopia double. And if you're not OTKing with Utopia double, you can set up a pretty mean control game by flooding the field with your muskets, keeping the advantage going with Doc and Caspar, and just chipping away at your opponent turn by turn, bit by bit. Now, this is during the pre-Tierlament phase of Master Duel, and Tierlaments are coming out next Monday as of this recording date. So, in case you're wondering what a good build would look like to shift to as soon as they come out next week, you can go ahead and take a look at this one. So, this is the build I recommend playing starting on April 9th, post Tierlaments, once Tierlaments are coming out into the game, and it's a bit more graveyard hate. So we're taking out the 2 Called by the Grave to maximize the copies of Dancing Needle, because in Tierlaments, all you really need to do is banish them. You don't need to negate the effects necessarily, so whenever they activate the effects, you do Dancing Needle to banish as many names as you can, hopefully making sure that they all fizzle, so to speak. I know that judges hate that term, but it's a good way to sum it up. The other copies of cards that we're playing are Silent Graveyard. We're taking out our Forbidden Droplet for 3 Silent Graveyard, which completely shuts down Tierlaments on your own turn. You can do it in the draw phase, you can do it as soon as your turn starts. That way you can do the rest of your turn uninterrupted. Really good way to make sure you can play on your own turn, which Ishizu Tierlament is really good at preventing you from doing. So, really important card to have. Now, I really can't say I'd recommend playing muskets in Tierlament format. The power difference is just a bit staggering, so if you wanted to try to make the dream come true and play muskets in ranked, I think this is probably one of the best builds you can do, but I definitely recommend the original build we showcased earlier, because I think muskets is a bit more of a fun deck. So one more look at that one. Here we are, and I really think that this is the most fun you can have with muskets. It's a very fair deck. It can OTK out of nowhere, but really only if your opponent already has a bit of threats set up. You're not stopping your opponent from building their board, you're just trying to crack it as quickly and deadly as possible. So this is the best build I think you can have for a generic format. You can obviously swap out some power cards for some more format specific stuff like you saw in the Tierlament build, but this is a good canvas to have for your version of muskets that you want to make as a duelist yourself. So if you found anything about the video helpful, entertaining, you like the builds, you like the replays, go ahead and drop me a like down below. I'd really appreciate it. If you're a Sprite player and you knew why that Sprite player didn't go into Elf and they just did Gigantic and Carrot, please let me know in the comments down below. Same thing if you're a Musket player and you have any kind of spicy text to help Muskets edge out some games in ranked with Tierlament format. Let me know the text, let me know the goo so I can have a chance. I would love to find out. Let me know in the comments down below. Always reading all the comments, always trying to respond to every single one. I love chatting with you guys down there, so sound off down below, and I'll be in there responding to your guys' comments. Lastly, if you like this video, you want to see more videos like it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You'll be notified if you click the notification bell next to it whenever we drop a video, the moment we drop it. You'll get a nice little notification on your phone, your computer, wherever you're at, so you can click on it right away and be one of the first to see a Kaiba Corp intern video. Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate it. I have to get back to work, and you all gotta take care of each other. Peace. Oh wait, it's muskets. Peace.